Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So first of all, I wanted to say thank you so much for the support and the kind words and the views and just for hearing me out and hearing my story about my struggles with body image and food. Thank you so much for all of that. In this video, I wanted to kind of go into my lifestyle changes that followed a lot of my recovery from my body image issues and my relationship with food, and kind of how I changed a lot of my life around regarding those subjects. But first, I have a video that's going to be going up. So I'm leaving to New York in a few days, and I actually wanted to make a video styling my outfits for my trip. And so as you can see behind me, I have all these clothes that you can see in action, me styling for my trip and me kind of taking my channel in that direction. Be sure to stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming in a few days. So first of all, a little bit of history. I was always a very active child. I played sports growing up. I was a dancer for a number of years in my childhood, and then I played volleyball for a number of years through middle school and high school, and always working out, always doing intense physical activity. Whether it was in school or in sports. But a lot of that quickly changed when I was playing on a club volleyball team and I got a concussion during a game. It messed up the right side of my brain. So for the longest time I was very sensitive to light, to sound, a lot of mental activity. When I would spend my entire day in school, every single day on my way home I would have the worst headaches, and I'd have to just be silent and I'd have to just sit in the dark for a little bit until that went away, and then I'd have to start doing homework for 5 to 6 hours a night. So once that happened, I didn't really exercise. I gained some weight for the next couple years. That injury happened in my freshman year, and then all throughout the rest of my time in high school I kind of did nothing but gain weight, to be honest with you. And then fast forward to 2018, it was January, I took a vacation with my family to my favorite city ever, New York City. If you know me, you know I love fashion and I love clothes, and New York is definitely a place that I want to pursue my career. While I was on this trip, I realized that I was very unhealthy and my appearance was not up to par with the kind of direction that I wanted to take my life in. Essentially, on my flight back home, I made the decision that I was going to turn my life around, and the very next day I wanted to get healthy. But I think my trip, I want to say, let me look at the dates. Yeah, so my trip at the beginning of 2018 was from January 12th through January 15th. So that whole weekend I was in New York, and then the 16th, which is when I started doing this journal, that was when I decided to get healthy. So I began this journey with a notebook, and I decided I was going to give myself 12 weeks to change my life a little bit. Then I put January 16th to April 10th was the time frame of when I was going to give myself to change a little bit, start exercising, start eating better. So basically where I started out with this journal was I wrote down a list of goals that I wanted to achieve. I'm going to read a little bit. This is the first time I've looked in this journal since I wrote it. I don't really remember what I wrote, but I'm going to read it out, and hopefully it's not too sad, so hopefully I can put a little bit in this. So it says goals, January 16th, 2018. I'm currently very unhappy with how I feel and look. Sometimes I feel okay, or I guess I just forget how I'm feeling about myself. I hate how I felt this way since as long as I can remember, which is why I want to change how I live life. I want to love how I look and continue working at it. Below, I will write goals I am going to achieve in this 12-week period, and I will do all I can to achieve them and push my family to reach their goals as well. So I did this 12-week thing with my family, and I actually had them write down things in a journal as well, because I wanted us all to be on board and us all to change how we lived our lives. So a couple of things that I put on this list that I will read out. I wanted to drop a couple sizes in clothes, to not be self-conscious while taking photos because of how I looked, to obtain my energy from how I feel rather than through coffee, and I wanted to love myself. And I wrote, "I will do it," and then I signed my signature at the bottom. As you can tell by what I wrote down as my goals, I really wanted to stray away from writing down numbers. I didn't want to write down a weight goal that I wanted to get, because for me that's not something that's helpful. It's not something that I find is motivating for me. It actually does a lot of damage to me mentally than it does help me. So if you notice that, I didn't write that down. So if you are actually going to do this, I would recommend to not put down numbers if that's something that's not very motivating to you. It is March 19th, 2019, and I've been at this for over a year. I'm just going to list a couple of diet changes and advice that I can give you, stuff that I've learned and kind of mastered at this point. First, I wanted to say that if you want to make changes in your life, you don't need to do anything drastic. You don't have to make changes that are complete 180 of what you usually do. If you eat a certain way, it's not cutting out every single thing that you eat, every single bad thing. It's making little changes, and that's really what I've noticed, that it's making small changes in your diet, in your everyday habits, you know, with drinks or foods, or you know, your regular everyday staple foods that you eat. It's really just making small changes. A good example of that, I would say, is with coffee. I love coffee. I drink coffee almost every day. And I decided to change that because, of course, if you're consuming something almost every day, it's gonna add up. So if you're eating pizza every day, you're gonna gain more weight. So essentially, the kind of changes that I made with my coffee drinks. So usually when I would go get Starbucks or Dutch Bros or would make it at home, I would have coffee with cream in it and sugar and syrups, depending on if I went to a coffee shop. I would normally get an iced vanilla latte. At first, I think I switched to almond milk rather than regular milk because I felt like just consuming so much dairy wasn't good for me, and I could definitely tell a difference in my stomach and my bloating. My stomach felt heavier when I would drink that. And then I also would refrain from getting the drinks that had a lot of added syrups in it, or I would stop getting whipped cream on my drinks, and they quickly make a difference if you have them every day. I actually just switched to drinking black coffee now. So I just have iced black coffee and nothing else in it. I got used to the flavor. I actually really like the flavor now. It's like an acquired taste, but it's so much healthier. I feel like I get the energy right away and I don't feel weighed down by all the extra added stuff that's in it. So yeah, with my diet, it was kind of the same thing. It was just replacing things, taking away things. I just made a decision every single meal to just make better choices. So I would eat more vegetables and reduce the amount of carbs that I ate. I was overeating a lot, and I just reduced a lot of my portion sizes. So that's kind of the changes that I made with my diet, and I noticed that I started cutting a lot of fat right away. So as far as my exercise changes, I have been working out every single week for multiple times a week now for almost a year. And over the course of this year so far, I have changed up my workouts very often, and I've kind of played around with different schedules and exercises to see kind of what works for me. Initially, I was kind of scared to get back into working out. I felt very intimidated at the gym, so I didn't really go to the weights right away, or I didn't do any classes. At first, I just started off doing cardio every single day. After a couple months of doing that, I got really bored of it right away, and so I started doing some weight training at home, and I did that for a couple months just to feel more comfortable with myself and my body again and moving around. But then once this new year started, I started doing a lot more weight training at the gym. So using all the machines. I've been going with my brother a lot, which has been really nice to have, you know, a partner there with me to do the workouts and keep each other motivated. And I've noticed I've toned up a lot since the year started. That's just been due to a lot of weight training that I've been doing. It's just a matter of finding what works for you and sticking to that. If you're getting bored, switch it up, go try something new, find a friend to work out with, a family member, a sibling. Like, that's a great way to bond with people. Some other things that I really enjoyed doing were going onto Instagram and looking at the fitness people on Instagram. So a lot of the women that I love to follow kind of had my body shape. I like to watch, you know, the kind of workouts they did and the kind of high intensity workouts. There are so many out there that are for different body types, different goals, different workout types. So like I said, finding those workouts that are kind of more for you and what motivates you, that's kind of the biggest thing. So yeah, it's been over a year and 2 months now, and looking back on it, I really wish that I had seen a video of somebody to just kind of give me advice and just straightforward things. I looked up a lot of videos of people getting healthy or their fitness journey, and they drastically change things, and I kind of feel like it's the opposite thing, and I feel like that's the way to be sustainable and go about it in a way that you're going to stick to for the long term and not just for a couple weeks or a couple months. So in summary, regarding diet, it's just making the little changes here and there, substituting things, finding alternatives, discovering the kind of healthy foods that you like, just really taking it meal by meal, being consistent. And with exercise, it's just finding the exercises that you like and that keep you motivated. There's so many options out there. Going back to my goals, I feel like I have accomplished a lot of them. Definitely not at the place that I was at before when I wrote down that paragraph that I read out. It didn't take 12 weeks, it's actually been over a year, and of course I haven't gotten to my goal. But yeah, I'm constantly working towards that, which is great because I'm really glad I've been doing this sustainably. Not doing any crash diets, not doing any crazy workout habits, but I've really gotten to a great space now, and that's just because I wrote down what I wanted to do. I made a list of how I was going to do it. I took it day by day, meal by meal, exercise by exercise, and I didn't push myself too hard. I didn't force myself. I had a balance of enjoying things and doing things that I wanted to, but also keeping myself accountable, remembering all the goals that I wrote down and just making it happen. And I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm in such a better place than I was when I first started this journal, and I'm gonna keep going and keep doing things that work for me, make me happy, and that's really all that matters. I hope this helps you if you are kind of wanting to start being healthier, whether it's through diet and exercise or both. So yeah, you can follow me on all my social media, that's linked down below. Subscribe if you want, like this video, and be sure to stay tuned for my video styling these amazing outfits for my trip to New York, which should be coming up soon. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.